these two trucks are really similar. Which one of these off-roaders is the best pickup truck? The Ford F-150 Tremor or the Ram Rebel GT? Let's find out. Hi there, and welcome to Michigan. Today, we're taking a look at these two off-road pickup trucks. We've got the Ford F-150 Tremor and the Ram 1500 Rebel GT. Off my right shoulder, we've got the Rebel. The way it sits, it's $78,000, and for that, you get a 5.7 liter Hemi V8 that makes 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, plus a whole bunch of off-road goodies. Well, you get the same sort of goodies with the Tremor, but you also get a 3.5 liter twin-turbo V6 that makes 400 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. That's almost 20% more torque than the Rebel. Before we go any further though, can we talk about these fake tough guy names they're given to pickup trucks? It sounds like 80s wrestlers. Tremor versus Rebel. I mean, if you're gonna go for it, you know? How about the Ford Pork Puncher versus the Ram Beef Blaster? I digress. Which one of these two mudboggers is best? Let's find out. As far as exterior design goes, these two trucks are really similar. The Rebel invented this genre back in 2015. They weren't going for a Raptor competitor. Nobody had thought of the TRX yet. Instead, they said, how do we take a pretty good 4x4 pickup truck and make it better? So they did some smart things. They put better tires on it. They gave it a lift. They put some fancy dampers on it. You have prominent tow hooks. Voila, the Rebel was born. Ford has finally caught up with an F-150 Tremor, although in fairness to Ford, they did come up with the Tremor package for the Super Duties a couple years ago. And it's the same basic formula, right? You've got better tires, you have a 1-inch lift, you have a 1-inch wider track, and some more off-road goodies. But the similarities go even deeper than that. They both have tacky, fake vents on the hoods. They both have oversized stickers near the rear taillights. Which one looks better? Look, I remember when this grille debuted at the 2015 Detroit Motor Show. They got rid of the crosshair grille. I thought it was a mistake then. I still think it's a mistake now, even though it has spread to the entirety of the Ram lineup. As for the Ford, I guess it's handsome in a conservative sort of way, although I do think just making certain pieces orange to signify that it's a Tremor is a bit of a cop-out. It's like what BMW does with their iCars. Just throw some blue in there, voila, we don't have to spend any real money on design. So as far as the Ram Rebel GT's interior goes, look, this is a very nice cabin. It's luxurious for a pickup truck. There's a ton of functionality. Thing is, it used to be the best. I remember when the Ram 1500 this generation came out, blew us all away. Nothing could touch it. But that was many, many years ago, and it really is starting to show its age, which is too bad. One thing I think that really does date it is this big vertical screen. Now, 10 years ago, that was hot because, you know, Tesla was doing it and it just looked modern, but now Tesla's even moved away from it, and it just really kind of dates the interior. And you'll notice that the Ford Tremor has moved away from that. Also, what we're gonna notice in the Ford is that the material quality has been kicked up a notch. All right, we are here inside of the Ford F-150 Tremor. From the driver's seat, it's not a lot to tell you you're in a Tremor. You have a couple pieces of gold, some gold thread. Other than that, it's just an F-150. Good news is the new F-150s are really nice inside. Look at this, this is great. I love how Ford has integrated the nav screen. It's the best integration I've seen in any light duty truck. Just perfect. I don't think the materials in the Ford cost more than the Ram, but Ford is getting really smart about how they're using materials. So good job there for Ford. Last great thing about the Ford's interior is physical controls for the HVAC. Fan speed, temperature, cooled seats. They're actual real buttons. They don't move around. It's so much better. So again, just to summarize, the Ram used to have the best interior in the segment. Now the Ford does. As far as driving goes, the Ram has air springs on all four corners. So if we were on the road, it is a very smooth and luxurious ride. Off-road, those air springs, you might think they'd be something of an advantage because, you know, it can raise the ride height a little bit. It's not leaf springs, but there's a clumsiness inherent to the Rebel that I just wasn't expecting. As far as the powertrain goes, V8 versus a twin-turbo V6 on the Ford. This is an old 8-speed at this point versus the Ford's more modern 10-speed. Ford has a better powertrain and leaves this thing for dead in terms of acceleration. The Ford's over a second quicker to 60 miles an hour than the Ram. Off-road, I think for the most part we can say they're both gonna get you to the same place. However, it'll be easier to get there if you're driving the Ford. So, you know, while the Tremor doesn't have the polished, smooth ride quality that the Ram does, because this is on leaf springs instead of air springs, off-road, it's just such an advantage to the Ford. I wasn't expecting it to be that much better than the Rebel. I'll give you a for instance. So there's this muddy hill over there, and in the Rebel, you can go up it, but you gotta put it in 4-low, you gotta lock the diff, and you gotta really get the right line. Here in the Tremor, 4-high, I'm not even playing with the modes. There actually is a mud mode, didn't even turn it on, didn't lock the rear axle, scampers right up it, no thought necessary. And that to me is just the mark of a better off-roader. So as far as driving performance goes, Tremor all day over the Rebel. We began this video by asking the question, which one of these off-roaders is the best pickup truck? The Ford Pork Pumper or the Ram Beef Blaster? Well, after a full day spent playing in this wintry muck, we have our answer. The Ram Rebel GT is a great pickup truck. Trouble is that time has, like it does with everything, caught up with it. It's too heavy, it's too slow, the interior's too dated, and surprisingly, it was pretty sloppy off-road. Wasn't expecting that. The Ford Tremor, on the other hand, has not only surprised, but charmed me. This thing is fast. This thing is loaded with cool technology. It's got a great interior, but most importantly, here in the dirt, it's wonderful. Put simply, it was able to do things that the Ram simply was unable to do. And that's why the winner of this comparison test is the Ford F-150 Tremor.